All right, all right. Welcome, 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 everyone. We are live. We are live. And I have some beautiful people with me today to speak to you a little bit more about what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, the IoT network and the PrimGate hotspots. So today I have some lovely individuals. Like I said, I have Michelle on the line here. I do have Mr. Live himself, Peter O'Hannon. And then I also have Chris with us. Major shout out to Chris for being able to jump on. I know he's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with this, but I'm so glad we were able to get these individuals on today. And if you've been kind of watching us in the last couple of weeks, you've known that we are bringing you guys this opportunity here to actually take advantage of really diving into these PrimGate hotspots that we have. But we wanted to get you guys to learn a little more about it, right? I've been learning a lot over the last couple of weeks about the IoT network, learning a lot from this panel about exactly how we can be compensated from this, not only this device, but this network. So I just wanted to get these guys on here to really give you more information, more than what I can give you about this network and about these hotspots. So we're going to wait just a couple of seconds as people start to trickle in. Right now, we have about 20 viewers. That's great. Last time we had about 70 viewers, but over 2,000 people viewed the actual live. So that's technology, guys, right? That's technology. Live, only 20, 40 people view it, 70 people view it, but then over the week, over 2,000 people view it. So we're going to wait just a couple of seconds for some more people to start trickling in. All right. And I hope you guys are ready to hear some powerful information. So I'm actually bringing my panel up. Let me get these guys unmuted here. Guys, if you want to unmute your mics and just say hi to the people who are listening in.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited to spend the afternoon with you.
Yes.
Hi there, everyone. Good to see you. Glad to be here. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, no problem, no problem. I'm glad you guys were able to jump on here, gentlemen and lady, to get on today and really speak about a very powerful opportunity for all of us. So we'll go ahead and get started. It looks like, we have more and more people trickling in. We can go ahead and get some of these answers, some of these questions that I have for you guys answered, and really show these people, what this opportunity is and how they can be, fairly compensated for the opportunity. So my first question is, I want to, kind of dive into this, right? A lot of people, including myself, have not really heard of what IoT is or the IoT network or about PrimGate and these hotspots. So my first question is, what is the IoT? What is the PrimGate hotspot? And that's really just the first question. What is IoT and what is the PrimGate hotspot? I would like to direct that to Chris himself, if you could answer that. What is this network that we're talking about and we're trying to help grow?
Well, first of all, again, let me thank you for having us on today. I think it's a powerful thing to be able to be here and address a lot of these questions, and like you said, it's something new. And so what I do want to caution everyone about, first and foremost, right, is this is green, guys. This is a very, very green thing. And when I say that, I mean that, for a lot of us, including the four of us here on this panel today, IoT is just beginning. We're just understanding. We're just getting our hands and our heads around it. But to be honest with you, our partner in crime, right, which is the Prime component, our partner in crime has been dealing with IoT for 20 years. So it's just a matter of how seasoned you are, okay, as to what your knowledge base is. So Mike, don't feel bad. And I'm really, really glad that you asked that question. And if I sound like an expert to your listeners, God bless them, okay? Because I didn't know a thing about IoT until 3.5 weeks ago, okay? So I'm just going to tell you, I've been a quick study, and Michelle's been on my heels. Peter's been on my heels the whole way. And from what I hear, you've been right on Peter's heels. So it is a domino effect, brother. So IoT, what is that? Well, it stands for the Internet of Things. It stands for the Internet of Things. And what does that mean exactly? Well, most of us carry this device around all the time, right? Everybody has one. Everybody's using it. Um, some of them are bigger than others. But at the end of the day, just about everybody's got one of these things nowadays. And we often think about being connected to everything we're doing. I don't know about you guys. The last few months, Mike, I've been at home a lot because I've been building, with this company. And so I've had the blessing to be at home, right? But when I do go out, um, I'm all over my phone. I'm banking, right? I'm ordering something on Amazon that I just saw somewhere else. I'm texting my friends. I'm FaceTiming for a business meeting. I'm doing all kinds of stuff with this. So we're used to this, and this is the internet. This is called Wi-Fi, right? And it's called high resolution style information, right? And there's probably a technical word for that, Mike. I'm sure there is, and somebody's probably laughing on the other side of your broadcast right now, saying Chris doesn't even know what we call this stuff. But at the end of the day, I know what we're talking about, which is the Internet of Things, right? And it operates on a completely different frequency. So it operates on something called LoRa. Okay, LoRa, if you want to call it like a name, right? The lady's name, Laura. That's how I like to call it. And it basically, just for everybody's knowledge, because everybody's going to say, well, now I got to go study this. Don't go study it. Just remember this part and you'll be golden, right?
Mhm.
It is a radio wave that goes a longer distance than what our high resolution, hi-fi, Wi-Fi internet connections go. Okay, so that's the big thing that you want to know, really. And there's a lot of things out there, Mike, that I didn't realize until 3.5 weeks ago. And I'm just being completely honest with you, buddy. I do a lot of talking. It is a really good thing. Michelle and I were talking the other day. I'm so glad we don't pay for this by the minute anymore, because brother, 20 hours straight on this thing, I wouldn't be able to afford it, right?
Mhm.
But I didn't realize that my refrigerator's talking to something, but it's not talking on this. Okay. I'm talking on this. My thermostat is talking to something, but it's not talking to me. I don't hear it. I don't know what's going on. Right. Um, just so many different devices, and it's amazing, the technology. And I'll be glad to give some examples later on in the broadcast. I don't want to dominate your call here, but I'll be glad to give you some examples of some of the things that do talk on that radio wave. But that's really what the IoT of things is, and that's what we're doing, right? We're introducing people to what we call the PrimGate hotspot.
Yeah.
And the PrimGate
So
hotspot is
so
a
basically,
box, Mike.
what you're saying is that the Internet of Things is just these different devices communicating with each other outside of communicating with us, right? How they communicate with each other, how my Alexa communicates with my refrigerator if I have a smart fridge, or how this communicates with that, and how these smart homes communicate with our cell phone, how they
That's right.
communicate with each other, leaving us out of the loop, basically.
Yes, sir. And what we want to do, okay, so a lot of people are probably thinking, well, that sounds kind of sci-fi to me, or Star Warsy, or whatever the case is. What the goal of the project is, because we get asked this question, I think Michelle can verify, we get asked this question probably on a daily basis 5 or 10 times. But the goal of the project actually is to make the customer experience the best it can possibly be, keeping the planet as green and as safe as we possibly can.
Yeah. So forget that 5G, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, we
forget
don't want
that stuff. You know, don't get me started on that. I'm a little bit worried about that now.
completely understand. Okay, so that question's been answered. What is IoT? IoT is the Internet of Things, and it helps your devices communicate with each other. Now, what is that helium hotspot, and how does that helium hotspot, kind of, how does that play its role within this IoT network?
Well, the easiest way to think about it is it is a device. It's about 5 by 5 square. Okay, has an antenna on it. You plug it into the wall, and it starts listening to everything that's happening on the Internet of Things. So think of it as the ears, right? And it hears all these different things and it collects that data. So maybe my thermostat checks the temperature outside. We'll just call it 15 times a day. It hears that every time, right? And so the box that we're talking about, the PrimGate hotspot that does mine helium, just for the sake of clearing that up,
Yeah.
that box actually records that information, it collects it. Okay. And here's the crazy thing, Mike. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
This stuff right here is happening whether we have these boxes or not. Okay. So, people say, well, I don't want anything to do with that because it's collecting my information. Wait a minute. Let me tell you a little story. Okay. You can stand on the sideline and you can watch that information get mined, right?
Mhm.
Because it's going to do it whether you're doing it or not. Or you can jump in the middle, put a little box in play, and you can say cha-ching. I mean, it's up to you, right?
That's what I want. It's
That's
cha-ching.
what I want.
Cha-ching.
I want cha-ching. I want cha-ching as well. And the biggest thing is, like you said, this is already being done. People are mining data. Like anywhere you go, your data can be mined. But the biggest thing is the privacy, right? We're not mining private data, right? This is all consumer-based data, things of that nature. So it's completely safe for each individual. That's what really excites me. No one is trying to figure out your ID or your social security number, anything like that. Most of this stuff is just consumer-based data. So these PrimGate hotspots that we are talking about is going to go into your home. Once it goes into your home, it's going to help you connect these devices. And by doing that, you get paid in this helium token, right? That's phenomenal. Plug and play system. So I guess, Michelle, my biggest thing is, and people have been asking me, yes, okay, these hotspots, you can plug them in, and then now you're playing in this helium token, but how does that benefit me? How do I get money from this helium token? So could you explain, kind of how, this is a cryptocurrency, but you can actually, exchange that for, whatever monetary value it may be?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of people that they don't have any knowledge or they may have little knowledge, right, in the crypto space. That's okay. Here's the great thing about it. We have put everything together to where we make it very easy for the user. And so we actually have an exchange to where you're going to be able to get a wallet on there. Your wallet then can be linked to a card that we have. So with that exchange, you're going to be able to exchange that over, and you can actually exchange it over into a fiat currency as well. So, so if you're in the US, the USD, or wherever you are in the world, we're going to have that ability for you to be able to do that, put it onto a card and go and spend it. So I'm super excited that we are actually getting to introduce people a little bit right into the crypto space. They don't have to have a whole lot of knowledge. They can come here and they can actually walk through the steps, and we'll hold their hands and we'll take them through it very simply. So it's not something that you've got to go and read and learn a whole lot about. No, we're going to walk you through that process and make it very simple for you.
I think that's great. One of the things that I know that some of the users, some of the people who are watching are going to say is, I don't know nothing about cryptocurrency. I have never been, paid in a cryptocurrency before. But giving them the understanding that, hey, this is real currency. It can be exchanged for a fiat currency. And one of the things that when I first talk to people about cryptocurrency, I try to kind of correlate something that they understand, right? They understand the stock market. They understand a share of a company and how that has the ability to rise and fall in value. So I try to really, connect those, like saying here, it's kind of like you being paid in this stock or this share from this company that has the ability to rise and fall in value. So that's what we're talking about, guys. You're having this token, this helium token that you're getting paid in that has the ability to rise and fall in value. And I just wanted to kind of put something on screen for you guys currently. Hopefully you guys can see. Currently, the helium token is at $1.24. You know what I mean? So like you're getting this token and it has that ability from here to rise in value. And our hopes is that the more and more of these PrimGate hotspots that we continue to push out around the world, because I'm telling you guys, this is not just in the US. This is not just here in my hometown or their hometown. This is around the world, that this price can push up, hopefully, and that we can all see this type of return from that. So hopefully you guys can understand that you are being paid in something that has the ability to rise, and not just in that dollar, which is falling every day. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you for that explanation, Michelle. I guess without saying, saying what people have been getting, what type of returns people have been getting from this. Obviously, we know that, disclaimer here, past performance does not guarantee future returns. Do we have any insight on what has been provided on like a daily, weekly range as far as token income? Or is that something that, we have to wait and, once we receive these boxes, that could be different upon each person location or anything like that? Chris, could you probably touch on that just a little bit?
Chris, I'm not because I'm not getting Mike Boggs on me today.
But you know what I noticed? You know what I noticed about Mike, right? I noticed that Mike gave you, Michelle, the money question. Did you notice that? I noticed that. He knew you knew to the penny. Okay. He knew you knew. So, Mike, that's a really good question.
Chris, I was going to say, what was it? Would you like to say what the coin was about 4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I could say that. I could tell everyone what the coin was, a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. So let's go ahead and let's jump down here.
Yeah.
Let's get people. Yeah, let's get people excited.
To the heart is what it is.
Right. Because none of us on this panel, let me just say that, none of us on this panel took advantage of the 19 cents.
No. Look who's underneath you.
But he didn't get it at 19.
Not 19, no.
No, but you still got some.
Yeah, but not 19.
Okay, not 19 cents. Okay, never mind.
I'm not going to reveal his price. Okay.
but let's just look at it, right? Let's look at it. Let's take a look at what this token, in the areas it started at. Before it even got onto this chart, it was about 19 cents. But then when they actually picked it up, when they actually started recording it, it was about 27 cents. So just think, if we were accumulating these at 27 cents, once it hit the market, if we had these devices, and it was hitting the market at 27 cents. And now, as we can see, this thing jumps up to $1.91, and then it just kind of stables, because obviously it took a sharp incline. So now it's stabling out. So just think, you're at the beginning of this growth. So that's our biggest thing, is we want to get people connected with this device, because we're still at the beginning of this growth. We're at the infancy stage. But let me go ahead and take it back to the question that I wanted to, ask Chris. That question was, if we can answer this question, past performance does not guarantee future results. What have we seen as far as a return from these devices, or anything that we can legally put out there, say that, this is what we've seen, and this is why you should get one. This is what we believe can happen for you in this short amount of time.
Right. And I'll be glad to answer that to the best of my ability, Mike. And stay compliant, Michelle and Mike Boggs. So, first of all, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. So we got that out of the way. Second of all, notice we're all trying to be very compliant, right? We want to make sure we
get us today.
Yes, we're managing expectations. So, okay, guys, for those of you who understand crypto and have been around crypto for a minute, let's digress 10 years. Let's digress to the beginning of Bitcoin, okay? And I want you to think about what Bitcoin is today, 11 years later, okay? I think we're hovering somewhere around 10,000-ish right now, I think. If you were able to have gotten in Bitcoin when it was 19 cents, I'm just saying, right? Like, I mean, it's crazy. And here's what I'm going to tell you. our partner in crime, even though he says he's not a financial advisor as well, he believes that a number that is beneficial or good for people to kind of, look for, it's a prediction. It's not a guarantee, right? Somewhere around 20 coins a week, right? And here's what I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's $1.20 today. So that's $20 you didn't have. Okay. But they were getting that anyway. Am I right? So the other thing that I want to say to your crypto folks, Mike, is this. Anyone who's ever mined before knows that it's very difficult to try to predict what a mining rig will do. And our device, okay, our hotspot from PrimGate, has been referred to by some of the more seasoned people in the industry as a miner. But let me tell you this. In my almost 5 years, I have never seen a miner that costs less than $3,000. I've never seen one that you could operate for 12 cents a month. I've never seen one that was quiet. You couldn't hear it running. I've never seen one that you didn't have to have in a controlled, temperature controlled environment because they get so hot with that proof of coverage. So if people want to look at this as a miner, then I say, for $500, what do you got to lose?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that kind of answered the next question, right? What is the price of what is the price of one of these hotspots? And obviously correlate that price to what someone can obviously return. And you just stated it. Each one of these hotspots is worth $500. Now, once again, I will say this and once again, stay compliant. When it comes to bringing these tokens in, there have been people who have brought in plenty of tokens in the first month. And then, there's other people
way more than 20.
Way
more than 20.
That is our disclaimer, obviously, right? We have a number that we can say legally, right? But there are people who have made way more than that on a daily, weekly, bringing in these tokens. So the biggest thing is having that ability to bring in something just off of a plug and play system, plug it in. From then on, it is going to bring you in an income every single day from then on. That is phenomenal. And what is bringing you in has the ability to rise in value. So he did touch on that question. So my next question is for actually Peter. What is our goal here? Like, why are we on here? Like, what is our major goal on being on here and giving people this advice about these hotspots? Why are we trying to help grow this network?
Yeah. Our goal basically is to put out as many of these devices as these PrimGate hotspots as we possibly can in a short amount of time. And the reason why is because when we're thinking about developing a network, any kind of network, we have to make sure that we're setting up the infrastructure. And so what we're doing right now is we're creating the infrastructure. We're laying down the groundwork to essentially have this off and running. And so what each of us have basically been tasked to do is to use this as an effort for us to go out and ask people and let people know about how this is so phenomenal and how it can change their lives. I mean, the individual person you're talking about, it can change their life. You can talk about people that have been hit by small businesses that have been hit by the coronavirus. If they install this into their business, now they're creating a monthly residual for themselves. And this will be something that will be absolutely brilliant going forward. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, now although it has a limited warranty on it, the units are actually a lifetime, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Lifetime?
Lifetime.
That is ridiculous. So you're telling me one $500 payment gives me a device that has a limited warranty, but can continue to produce an income for lifetime.
For the lifetime of the product. Yes, sir.
For the
Absolutely.
lifetime of the product. That is absolutely unbelievable. So I am so happy you guys were able to jump on here and answer these questions, because there are some that I probably wouldn't be able to answer for everyone out there on my own, and I would look a little bit silly, but it's okay. I don't have a problem with it. If you look at me, I don't really care about what other people think, so I'll be okay. But moving on from here, guys, I guess what the question that I would like to ask now is, what are we, we've already decided that we want to build this infrastructure, right? We want to build this infrastructure. We want to help people get these in their homes. Is there any type of advantage to having more of these in a certain area? I guess I'll hand that over to Chris. Is there any advantage to having 20 of them in my city, 50 of them in my city?
That's a great question, Mike. Really, a really great question. And so to caveat off of what Peter said, and I'm really glad you asked this question behind what you asked Peter, to caveat off what he said, our main goal right now, we have one action item on our list right now, and that's get these boxes in people's homes, right, or businesses, and get this network up and running. This is going to be the world's largest mesh network. We're going to light 10,000 cities in a short period of time. So why 10,000 cities? Well, it caveats right into what you're saying. Okay. What is the advantage to having these things? Well, all of us here, I'm looking really closely on the panel. I think I'm the oldest one here, so I can feel safe to say that I wasn't old enough to participate in the building of the territories for XL and AT&T, and I want to say Singular was out there in that, and I want to say Sprint was probably one of the first as well. But this is similar, very similar, if you will, to the exact same process. When we first got a phone, now this I remember, okay? When I first got my first car phone, it was attached to the car. When the car cranked, it went beep, 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 and all this other stuff, right? And we thought that was cool. We thought that was cool. And here's the real cool thing, right? In order to use it, you had to have service, right? And hey, I lived out in the sticks in a little river town. So we didn't have coverage out there. Why did I have a cell phone? I don't know. It was cool. Everybody had one, so I wanted one too, right? And I think we paid I don't even remember, $1,000, $1,500. You had to have it professionally installed and antennas on the car, and it was crazy, right? Okay, it's the exact same thing. I know, right? We laugh about it now, but it's the exact same thing, Mike. If you don't have coverage, the Internet of Things can't communicate. And here is the most important piece to the puzzle. Right now, in every city on the globe, regardless of how prosperous a country is or how poor a country is. Okay, so I just want to make that very clear. All right. Mm-hmm. Every city has the Internet of Things already working. Okay. Now you're probably going, what? Really? Right? Am I right?
Correct.
Because we didn't know this now, did we? Look how smart I got. Watch this. Okay. So the Internet of Things in the city is something like, I'm downtown Main Street, and I've been at this club over here having a cocktail, but now it's dinner time and I want to go to that restaurant across the street. Well, I have to push this button to tell the light that I want to go over there. Internet of Things. The button communicates. Everybody thinks that these things are all hardwired. They are hardwired, guys. But guess what? There's something in between that doesn't have anything to do with wires. It's radio waves. So for me to get across the street safely, I got to push that button, tell that light, stop that traffic, because this fool wants to go across the street and eat, right? Okay. So this stuff pays. That's the crazy thing. This stuff is paying. Are you serious? Look, okay, who's been to a beach town recently and wanted to rent one of those scooters that's up against the pole, right? Mm-hmm. You got to tell it, right? You got to tell the machine that it's up against to allow me to ride the scooter. The wheels are locked. Are you kidding me? The wheels will not turn. All right. So I tell the little machine that I want to ride the scooter. There's no wire connected from that machine to that scooter. But instantly when I make my payment, what happens? The scooter goes and it rolls. These are just a few examples, guys. And I mean, I'm being kind of funny here because it's Friday afternoon and we're all kind of punch drunk. We've been working 16, 20 hours a day. We're having fun. But at the end of the day, this is what this is about. This is the part I love, is being able to pop on something like this, have a good time, point out something that may or may not seem obvious to someone else. But I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. I don't have any hair, but y'all need to know I got blonde roots. Okay. So I was real blonde when it come to this stuff. I had no idea that these cities were operating on this IoT of stuff. And then what's worse, you know what, Mike? I used to think that, that currency, right, was the end all be all. It was the number one thing in the world that was the most precious. But I've learned something else. Can I tell you a secret? Brother, he who dies with the most data wins. Data is the number one currency on the planet.
It is. It is. It's actually an article that you guys could check out if you want to. You can actually just plug it into Google and you put in data more valuable than oil. And then you'll actually see an article written in 2017 that actually shows that in 2017, the price of data became more valuable than the price of oil. And you can see that by all the companies that are in the stock market. Look at the companies that operate in the data market. Look at the Googles. Look at the Amazons. Look at the, the Microsofts. These companies continue to rise and rise and rise in value because they're in one area, and that's technology and data. So they continue and they continue and they continue to rise. So great answer, great answer. We do have some questions here within the chat, and if we can answer some of these questions and stay compliant, obviously, with some of these questions, I'd like to bring some of them up. So we have a question from here. He wants to know, if you have more than one unit, will they compound upon each other with your earnings? If so, what is an example of that?
That's a good question.
That's our man Pierre from Canada. Let's see that is.
I love that. I love that. Michelle, why don't you start the first piece of that, and I'll close it out on that question.
Okay. So as you have more units, you're definitely going to see those units start to work better, and because they give each other more of a boost. So what they call one being by themselves is a lone wolf, and they may not do as much. So that's the reason why we're building a network currently right now. So we think about it this way. Like Chris was just saying, right, about the cell phones. When we got into our cell phones, there wasn't as many towers around, correct? So you didn't have as much coverage. So now as we're building out these cities, we're literally making a mesh network. And so that's going to allow your boxes or your hotspots. We keep calling them boxes. I'm not real sure how we got on.
We're working on it.
Anyway, we did. So, but with that, they will start to operate better and faster. And I'm going to kick it over to you.
Absolutely, Michelle. After that, there's not a whole lot left to say. So I will digress a little bit, and I'll give them a little bit of a different history, because you answered that beautifully. So,
thank you.
Pierre, let me tell you that as Michelle spoke on the lone wolf, okay, it's important to understand that our PrimGate hotspot, okay, is designed to come to life, if you will. All right, with 3 units. So you're going to need to have 3 units in your area for it to be producing and operating nicely. Notice I said nicely. If there's not 3 units in an area, don't freak out. Don't get crazy. It's still going to operate. Okay. It's just not going to operate at the level that it would operate if there were 3. All right. Now, for most of you who are watching or are part of, right, are part of what we're doing, you guys all know that we went to some people and we asked some people to kind of come in and help us develop some cities, because we're smart enough to know that one person can only get so much done, but an army of people can get a whole lot of stuff done real quick, right? So when we did that, we created a working environment that said, we need you to have 10 boxes, right? There we go with the word boxes again. 10 hotspots in an area, right? Okay. For it to be profitable for you. Now, why did we say that? Well, because the prime hotspot right now, and we're talking about today and in the near future, okay, guys? It's designed to operate at its best with 8 to 10 boxes, and those 8 to 10 boxes need to be spread out 3/4 of a mile from each other, and preferably, I'm giving you guys a hint here, preferably if those 3/4 of the miles will overlap a little bit, so there's no drop in coverage. Okay. So if you're one of those great lucky people that says, oh my God, I want to do that, I want to help develop a city, or you're developing a city, make sure that you do that in a manner that's going to benefit you, you know. And to answer Pierre's specific question, because I know where he's headed. No,
Me
Pierre,
too.
you can't have 10 at your home. Okay. Don't do it. It won't work. It's not going to help you. Okay. But what I will say is our technology, you heard us talking about the life of our product, right? Our hardware earlier. The life of our product is uniquely different from a lot of these other products that are out there, because we're able to upgrade our software on the hardware that exists to allow the product to work differently as we grow. Okay. Because Pierre's next question is going to be this right here, Mike. Watch this. Say, I'm good. I can read them. I can read them and they ain't even seeing them. Watch this. Okay. He's going to say, well, you know, eventually the cities will be full. So then what do we do? Very good. Very good question, right? We begin to go to the outskirts and to the sister cities. And then once we have really good coverage, eventually what we're going to want is one in everybody's home, guys. Everybody's home. So that software has to be tweaked so that that hardware works the way it needs to wherever we are in our development. I hope that was a good answer.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Basically what we're saying here, guys, is if you can get more within your city, it's going to benefit you more. Like truthfully, because that's just how the system is set up for it to be multiple boxes within the city, as long as they're distance apart. Having to create that income, you're going to continue to create even more of an income as they continue to work together.
I forgot one thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Mike. So, and Peter's heard me say this 1,000 times. He can probably answer all of these questions for me. But Peter, remember when we were talking to a few people on the line not too long ago, and we were telling them, they were asking about the difference between our hotspot, right? Our PrimGate hotspot and someone else's PrimGate hotspot. We're just going to leave that over there, right? We just call them both PrimGate hotspots because we don't want to embarrass anybody, right? Our product is significantly more advantageous or beneficial, right? Because our product, unlike other people's products, are designed to recognize other hotspots within a distance, okay, and to feed off of them. So ours actually gets stronger and faster the more hotspots are around it. So don't worry about somebody coming into your territory. That's not gonna hurt you at all.
Not at all. Not at all. It's actually more beneficial for you. So welcome them into
exactly.
Into
let them help you do the work.
Welcome them. Great answer. I am so happy you guys were able to go ahead and get that answer for us. And let's see if we have any other questions in the actual feed here. Let's see. I have a question here that I think it's a very easy question for you to answer. It says, how will the hotspot be beneficial for someone in an underdeveloped, like, African country?
Great question.
I love that. I do. Hey, Peter, how about you lend some knowledge here. I'm going to test Peter for a second, guys. Go ahead, Peter.
All right. So essentially, the ways that these can be developed in underdeveloped countries is essentially what we can do is we can create a boots on the ground network in these particular countries. And as these networks are created within these countries, what happens is these devices start to get put in all different cities across these countries, which, by the way, right now is actually already happening in African countries
Africa.
across the world, right? So that's number one. Number two, then what's also going to happen is as a result, we're going to have more of these devices communicating with each other. That word is going to get out into other people, into other countries, and then you're going to have other countries, and rather other companies, that are going to start using that particular, meaning the LoRaWAN service, meaning our IoT PrimGate hotspot devices, using that service and to work off of it. And as they use that, those particular companies will have to go through your devices. And as they go through your devices, you continue to earn more HNT.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Way to go, Peter. Hey, you know what else is you did a fantastic job. Look, I gotta brag for a second, Mike. I've been working with these two right here for the last 3.5 weeks. They have been on my heels every second. They put in the 16, 18, 20-hour days. They're listening, they're really listening, they're really absorbing, and they're both very, very knowledgeable in this area. And you know what? Here's what I'm also gonna say. None of us are an expert yet, right? None of us are an expert yet. We're all growing and learning. But this is the one thing that I do want to just mention, because I feel like maybe somebody out there may be wondering. Okay, so those third world countries, most of them, guys. I mean, sadly, internet is not really something that they're used to. It is a huge luxury in a lot of places. Okay, so if you're wondering if our hotspots have to have internet, the answer is no.
Mm-mm. That's a lot.
No.
So, and an interesting question was asked that I just saw in the chat, Mike. And Chris, you can answer this one. Can two units be in the same house? That's the question that I literally was going to read. That's hilarious. Can two units be in the same house? Number one, and can one be 15 miles away? Go ahead.
Okay, that's a beautiful question. I'm going to go on record and say it's not impossible for it to work that way. Is it optimal and best? Absolutely not. If you're going to have two hotspots on the same property, okay, let's just call it that, because some people live on large properties, right, or have guest houses, pool houses, whatever. I have a storage building. Does that count? I can put one in my storage building. But as long as they're 300 meters away from each other, they're going to operate and talk to one another pretty well. Right now, the way the software and the hardware are working, if they're too close together, they're going to kind of bounce off of one another. And the way that the coin is developed, which is beneficial to you, is it has to receive so many challenges and so many witnesses in order for it to create a coin for you. So if they're bouncing off, you're going to miss opportunity. Now, the 15 miles away to the parents' house, nope, that's too far. Our boxes at most, hotspots, sorry. Our hotspots at most are designed to do 10 miles at best. And that is going to really depend, guys and gals. I mean, I wouldn't put a lot of faith in it. It's going to really depend on the terrain, the area that it's in, what it has to go through to get there, where you have them placed. I mean, there are a lot of factors involved. I try to steer away from the 10-mile thing. I let the experts say that, and Chris says, you know what, keep it at 300 meters.
Completely understand. So, guys, we've been on here for close to 45 minutes, right? And we've given some excellent advice, excellent information out. And I think it's, a good time for us to just kind of close this out. And I kind of want to summarize this whole entire ordeal that we just went through about how this stuff pays, because it really does. So let's take it back. Number one thing is, what does these things do? Okay, what is the IoT network and what does these PrimGate hotspots do? The IoT network is the way that all of our devices communicate with each other. It's how your Alexa communicates with your phone. It's how your smart television communicates with this. It's how the smart fridge communicates with your phone. All of these different technologies, all of these different devices communicating with each other without having to directly communicate with you. Okay, what do these hotspots do? These hotspots actually allow that information to carry through it, right? All right, we're moving information from point A to point B. That's all. That's basically what's happening there. Okay, now why should you get this? What is in it for you? All right, each time that this is happening, you are collecting this data and you are now paid in what is called this helium token. All right, that helium token has the ability to rise and fall in value. Okay. Each one of these devices do cost $500, and it's crazy. Past performance do not guarantee future returns, but we've seen people with other, similar things that have made, around that amount within that month. Once again, past performance does not guarantee future return. Continuing from there, what we are trying to do, our main reason on here is this is not an MLM. This is not anything that, benefits the next person, the next person, the next person like that. The benefit that we have is the more that are in our cities, the better they work. And the more we make, the more you make, the more everybody makes. That's phenomenal. We're literally actually here to work together. A lot of different companies, you're fighting the next person next door. We're here to work together. Okay. And lastly, one of the biggest things about this is that we're lighting the network up right now, and we're trying to make sure that these hotspots get into as many homes as possible, so that in the long run, this could be something that really, really benefits each and every person. Like this coin right now, like we talked about, it started at 19 cents, went to 27, and then now went to $1.90, and then now is at 120, 130. It's a great way to bring in a side income, guys. So anything you guys want to say to close out before we go ahead and end this call? You guys did a great job, and I'm so happy you were able to join us today.
I think if I can close out by saying something, my thing would be this. Even if you're somebody who's considering just buying one device or even multiple devices and figuring out how you can put them in your cities, the biggest word that I can tell you is vision. Have a vision for what this can provide for you. Have a vision of what essentially this can look like for you when the coin doesn't stay at $1.20, doesn't stay at $2, but actually at some point in time goes above that point, well above that point, right? Because the more this becomes a use case scenario, the more of these particular hotspots are put all over the world, the more this coin starts to be used, and then the more beneficial that becomes. And then it kind of becomes more like, oh, now I'm getting into what could possibly be the next Amazon before it was actually deployed. Mm-hmm. So you have to think of it that way. Vision is very important.
Very, very, very important. Anything else, guys?
Michelle, go ahead.
When I think about this, and you guys, you have to understand they're calling it the People's Network. And I think about some of the ladies that are over in Africa that we have helped. These ladies their weekly income is $50 a week in USD. So when I think, what could a $500 device do for these families, not just in other countries, but here in the United States as well, it makes me super excited to be able to share with somebody and say, hey, it may not be one of those things that you're looking at it going, oh gosh, this is like thousands of dollars that's coming in. What if it's just a couple $100 a month? What's that helping? Is that helping with food? Is that helping with extracurricular activities for your kids? Is it what could you use that money for? So we have a solution for some of the people that have really been hit hard with COVID. And I love it because you know what? You don't have to go and sell. You don't have to, a lot of the times I get involved with stuff that that people have to go and turn around and sell, right? They've got to go put the $500 in it, and then they've got to go move it. Guys, you unbox this thing, you plug it up, and you put it in your window, and guess what? You start earning. And so I can't think of an easier way for people to start earning on something that the big companies are earning on currently right now. And you've got the opportunity to do that. And that's what makes me excited.
Awesome.
Wow, Michelle, that's beautiful. Hey, you know what, Mike? I want to leave your audience with one thing. This stuff pays. Okay. And I mean, it really pays. And we didn't even touch on all the ways that it pays. So, you know, Michelle, you and Peter both so eloquently closed out the call. The only thing that I want to offer and say is come join our family. We honestly, earnestly, to touch on even what Mike said, you know, we want to help each other. We're in this together as one. We're not doing that competing thing, right? We're a family. Come join our family. Let us help your family to have a little more than what they have right now, because it pays. It just does, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, no problem, no problem. There are some additional questions in the inbox here on the chat. I will get to those questions and answer those for you guys. Anyone who has a question, even if you watch this a little later, go ahead and drop your question. I'll make sure to get to those questions and get an answer out to all of you. But I just want to thank everyone. Obviously, want to thank all of my co-hosts here for coming on here and dropping this information for us. But like Chris said, this stuff pays, and it pays a lot more than even what we have even talked about here. But we want to stay compliant for you guys, okay? So definitely reach out to us. Anybody who got you onto this call, get back to the person who sent you over to this live, and just talk to them, and they'll give you all the information that they have or get you in touch with us. Now, I will say thank you guys once again, and anybody that's interested in it, reach out to me. I'll definitely get that information over to you. So I will either see you at the top or from the top, because the bottom is too crowded, guys. The bottom is too crowded. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.